Halo semuanya, berjumpa lagi dalam 5 sesi random. Oke, kali ini aku akan menunjukkan kembali chapter ke-6, di mana chapter 6 ini aku kasih gambar judulnya yaitu Throne of Glass, karang dari Maas ya. Tapi jangan sebelum itu, jangan lupa subscribe, like, dan komentar Anda tanpa kalian membeli sini untuk membahas sedikit mengenai kisah sedikit ya. Oke, langsung saja kita lanjut ke chapter 6. Chapter 6. For the next 2 weeks, they traveled down through the continent. The nights became colder, the days shorter. Icy rain kept them company for 4 days, during which time Celaena was so miserably cold that she felt helpless, throwing herself into the ravine, hopefully dragging Kale with her. Everything was wet and half frozen, and while she could bear sodden hair, she could withstand the agony of wet shoes. She had little sensation in her toes. Each night, she wrapped them in whatever spare, dry clothing she could find. She felt that as she thought that she were in a state of particle decay, and with each gust of frigid, stinging wind, she wondered when her skin would weep from her bones. But as it was autumn weather, the rain suddenly disappeared, and cloudless, brilliant skies once more stretched over them. Celaena was half asleep on her horse when Crown Prince pulled out of line and came trotting toward them, his dark hair pouncing. His red cape rose and fell in a crimson wave. Above his adorned white shirt was a fine cobalt blue jerkin trimmed with gold. She would have snorted, but he looked rather good in his knee-high brown boots, and his leather belt did go nicely, even though the hunting knife seemed a bit too bejeweled. He pulled up alongside Kale. "Come," he said to the captain, and jerked his head at the steep, grassy hill that the company was starting to ascend. "Where?" the captain asked, jingling Celaena's chain for Dorian to notice. "Wherever he went, she went. Come see the view," Dorian clarified. "Bring that way, I suppose," Celaena breathed. "That one?" as if she were a piece of baggage. Kale moved them out of line, giving her chain a fierce tug. She grasped the reins as they advanced into a gallop, the tangy smell of horsehair creeping into her nostrils. They rode quickly up the steep hill, the horse jerking and surging beneath her. Celaena tried not to wince as she did backward in the saddle. If she fell, she'd die of humiliation. But the setting sun emerged from the trees behind them, and her breath caught in her throat as a spike. Then 3, then 6 more appeared, piercing the sky. Atop the hill, Celaena stared at the crowning achievement of Adelaide, the glass castle of Liverpool. It was gargantuan, a vertical city of shimmering, crystalline towers and bridges, chambers and turrets, domed ballrooms and long, endless hallways. It had been built above our original stone castle and cost a kingdom's well to construct. She thought of for the first time she'd seen 8 years ago, cold and still, frozen like the earth beneath her fat pony. Even then, she found the castle tasteless, a waste of resources and talent. Its tower chinked in the sky like clawed fingers. She remembered the powder blue cloak that she kept touching, the wake of her first clothes, the sketch of her soft against the saddle, and how she wanted the spot of powder on her velvet shoes, and how she kept on thinking about that man, the skill she killed 3 days earlier. Okay. "One more tower and the whole thing will collapse," the crown prince said from his boat on the other side of Kale. The sounds of their approaching party filled the air. "We've still got a few miles left, and I'd never navigate these foothills in the daylight. We'll camp here tonight. I wonder what your father will think of her," Kale said. All will be fine until she opens her mouth. Then she bellowing and blustering will begin, and I quit, wasting the past 2 months tracking her down. But, well, I think my father was more important matters to worry over. With that, the prince moved off. Celaena couldn't keep her eyes from the castle. She felt so small, even from far away. She forgotten how dwarfing the building was. The soldiers scurried about, lighting fires and placing tents. You look as you're facing the gallows, not your freedom, the captain said beside her. She would and unwould the strap or leather plate on finger. It's hard to see. The castle, the slum, the river. The shadows of the castle crawl across the city like a hulking beast. I still don't entirely know how it happened. How you were captured, she nodded. Despite the visions of the perfect world under an empire, your rulers and politicians are quick to destroy each other. So are assassins, I suppose. You believe one of your kind betrayed you? Everyone I knew, I received the best hires and could demand any payment. She scanned the twisting city streets and waving glimmer of the river. Where I gone, a vacancy would rise from which they could profit. It might have been one. It might have been many. You should expect to find honor amongst such company. I didn't say that I did. I never trust most of them, and I knew they hate me. She had her suspicions, of course, and the one who seems more likely was the truth she was ready to face. Not now, not ever. And the very must have been terrible, Kill said. Nothing malicious or mocking beneath these words. Did she care for his sympathy? Yes, she said slowly. It was. He gave her a look that asked for more. Well, what did she care if she told him? When I arrived, they cut my hair, gave me rags, and put a big axe in my hand, as if I knew what to do with it. They chained me to the others, and I endured my whippings with the rest of them. But the officers that had been instructed to treat me with extra care, and took the liberty of rubbing salt in the woods. Salt and whipped me often enough so that some of the cases never really closed. It was through the kindness of the few prisoners from Elwin that the wounds didn't become infected. Every night, one of them stayed up the hours it took to clean my back. Kale didn't reply, and only glanced at her before dismounting. As she could have hoped to tell him something was personal, didn't speak to her again that day, except to bark comments. Celaena awoke with a gasp, a hand on her throat, cold sweat sliding down her back and pulling in the hollow between her mouth and chin. She had nightmared before that she was lying in one of those mass graves in Endovier, and when she tried to pour herself for the tangle of rotting limbs, she'd been dragged down into pile 20 bodies deep, and then no one noticed that she was still swimming when they buried her alive. Now sit. Celaena wrapped her arms around her knees. She breathed in and out, until her head, her sharp knee caps pushing against her cheekbone. Due to the unreasonably warm weather, they foregone sleeping in tents, which gave her an unparalleled view of the capital. The illuminated castle rose from the sleeping city like a mound of ice and steam. There was something greenish about it, and it seems to pulse. By this time tomorrow, she'd be confined with those walls. But tonight it was so quiet, like the calm before a storm. She imagined that the whole world was split, enchanted by sea green light of the castle. Time came and went, mountains rising and falling, fires creeping over the slumbering city, concealing it with layers and thorns and leaves. She was the one on the way. She wore her cloak around her. She would win. She'd win and serve the king and then vanish into nothing, and think no more of castles of arcane or assassin. She didn't wish to reign over the city again. Magic was there. The fairy would banish or execute it, and she would never again have nothing to do with the rise and fall of kingdoms. She wasn't afraid for anything, not anymore. A hand opened his sword. Dorian Aveller watched the assassin from his spot on the other side of sleeping company. There was something sad about her, sitting so still with her legs against her chest, the moonlight coloring her hair silver. No bold, swaggering expression started across her face as the glow of the castle rippled in her eyes. He found her beautiful, if a bit strange and sour. It was something in the way that her eyes sparkled when she looked at something lovely in the castle. He couldn't understand it. She stared at the cast arm fixedly, her form silhouetted against the blackness that sat on the edge of the Napoli river. Clouds gathered above them, and she raised her head, though the road bleeding in the swirling mass. A cluster of stars could be seen. She couldn't help thinking that they gazed down at her. No, he had to remember she was accessibly blessing of their pretty face and sharp wits. She washed her hands with blood and was just likely to slit his throat as offered him the kind word. And she was his champion. She was here to fight for him and for her freedom, and nothing more. He lay down, his hand still upon his sword, and fell asleep. Still, imagine how this dream, during the night, a lovely girl gazing at stars and stars who gaze back. Oke, sekian dari aku ya. Ya, sampai jumpa lagi nanti penelitiannya ya. See you and bye-bye.